Hello everyone and welcome to the LSI F1 World Championship. We're today for the Italian Grand Prix. Round 6 out of 12, we're halfway through the season. It's Sulkin on top, it's Tom Robb on the bottom of the order. It is a Ferrari sandwich, it's an invalidation for the German driver around a circuit that they would probably call their favourite, at least in previous games. What can they do today? Well, first of all, they need to go around again and hopefully get the lap valid. Are they going to be going on this lap, or are they going to go into the pit lane and come back out? It looks like the pit lane and come back out. It is a circuit that has a lot of straight lines, so I think a few drivers are hoping that they can get in and out of the pit lane pretty quickly. Once again though, Igor going on a very late run, might not get a final run, but they don't really seem to bother doing that in recent times. What's it going to be for the Serbian as they cross the line? DRS open after it. It is a P3 place and 18.268. That's a brilliant lap right there. Closing up nicely to Jericho Willis. Margins in front of Charlie in the Williams. All drivers ready to go for their final laps. Heischler and Pursoon included. Pursoon reserving today. Good to see them in the order. And now they tussle for position. We've got, of course, Verf not racing today, our championship leader, on 74 points, 61 for Jericho Willis and 58 for Heischler. A big catch-up for the Dutchman. Can they utilise the result today as well? Will we see Jericho Willis's first LSI F1 victory? Eager Pro, well, they're 46 points in the championship. A fair few behind, but still in the fight nevertheless. And Heischler begins the final lap, and we'll watch on board as DRS is open after they cross the line, as I said earlier on. And they head to turn 1, plummeting into the corner, braking just before 100 metres. And down the gears, really using that flicking technique into the first chicane at Monza, as you can get away with it in qualifying. Whether that was an intention or not, it looks tidy. And on the Delta, it doesn't work. It's 1.5 tenths down, trying to go aggressive on the steering once more through the chicane, through the first and second Lismo next. And DRS on the exit, just trying to make sure you get that perfect exit so you don't scrub all the speed down the straight. Before this Ascari chicane, that's where we'll see the next sector line and see what Heischler is doing. They've managed to gain all their time back. But is it a little bit too late? The final sector upon us. They go through the Ascari chicane. They've got one final corner to try and make time up on. They've not got much battery. They've used all of it. They'll gain some into turn 11. On the exit though, it's going to be limited. Pulling it to the right hand side to minimise track distance. What's it going to be for Heischler as they cross the line? And it's not going to be an improvement in the end. It's not going to work out. I do not believe it. We've got, is that Tom going round next? They've invalidated once more. Sulkin is not invalidated, but we go on board with Charlie, who has invalidated. Jericho Willis looks for pole position contention. Can they do it? As they cross the sector line, they're 2 tenths down, and I don't think it's going to happen. It's all gone down to the final few laps, and nobody has kept it within track limits. I do not believe it. Sulkin though, even quicker than before. Can they get the job done? Jericho Willis crosses the line, and it's an improvement It is an improvement, but it's not enough to compete with this man who comes around the final corner, and it looks like it's going to be another pole position for Sulkin. It is P1, 2/10 improvement, a 17.890, a brilliant lap right there. Pursoon finishes qualifying. What's it going to be for the Dutchman? They got pretty close to their previous lap time. I don't think they improved. P5 for them in the end. It's good to see them in the lobby, despite the late notice. Sulkin on pole position. It's Jericho Willis in P2 and Egapro in P3. We will go through the race director, and then we'll be back in a bit for the race. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into turn one? We're finally away. It's the Ferrari on pole position, but the inside line goes to Jericho Willis. Is Jericho going to be able to challenge? No. Defensive slightly from the Ferrari. It's the Williams on the inside who sticks the nose on the McLaren, but it really gets ahead of the Aston Martin of Egapro, and it's Heischler down to the back of the pack as they have a drag race. So does Pursoon and Egapro. Tom is in front. Who's going to get ahead here, though? Pursoon versus Igor on the tyre that they're on. It's the inside line. There's a bit of contact, and it's Pursoon going off the circuit. They did not want to go side by side. They'll have to return the position and slot in behind as Egapro now has 6/10 to the car in front as Charlie chases Jericho Willis, chasing our race leader Sulkin, who holds it from P1, from pole position. Can they maintain that, though? We've got the hard tyre for Jericho Willis. A brilliant start considering they're on the harder compound. Heischler also on the harder compound as they've just tried to get ahead of Tom, but they didn't quite get the job done and they had to back off before Ascari. Everybody in a train at the moment. Those hard tyres do look like they're a bit tricky. That's with Heischler dropping down the order, but they want to do something different. Sulkin, though, with the pace, with the pole position, leads the way. Will Jericho Willis try and attack early on? Well, they've got a Williams behind them ready to pounce if they don't want to, so they have to be aware, because Charlie's not going to want to wait around if they're on this softer compound tyre. They want to try and utilise that tyre in the early laps. If they don't, they'll miss their chance and they'll possibly lose out. That being said, could we see this train build up later on in the Grand Prix for the final laps as the tyre situation evens out? We're on the wrong screen, I do apologise for that. Do apologise. Luckily, nothing much happened and it was just a little bit of side-by-side racing here and there. I did press the button, but thank you, Ben. Maybe I need a new keyboard. Heischler dropping back a little bit as it races side by side with Tom. They get ahead. Tom goes off the circuit, and that will be Heischler into P6, but with, well, not really, DRS 2/10 behind us. They had to fight the Ferrari to get ahead. Tom wanting to stay in front on that medium tyre, but now they've just ended up squabbling a little bit too much. Heischler catches up into the final corner, but now everybody will open up that rear wing and they will just dart away into the distance. And there you see it, the gap will extend and there's nothing Heischler can do about it. Charlie was closing in very quickly to Jericho Willis, but didn't end up getting anything done. Pursoon and Egapro follow the trio up in front at the moment. Charlie crossing the line to take victory for a moment in Austria. Sulkin being at the front of the grid for a long period, and well, back in Silverstone we saw Jericho Willis in contention for the race win before that second safety car that happened. So they've all tried to get something done. They've almost had a go at getting everything done. Egapro over P2 so far this season in Zandvoort, racing in good form throughout as well. We'll see soon, of course. Second race this season, and that's the train, although Heischler has caught up now and is looking pretty good. That's Tom, who's unfortunately at standard track limit, has gone off the circuit as they now continue to lose this train. Luckily for Heischler in the corners, they're able to gain the difference that they needed to get that DRS. But for Tom it was a little bit bigger, and unfortunately that has meant that they can't really catch up very easily. But Charlie looking very close to the back of Jericho Willis. Jericho continues to not worry about catching up to the back of Charlie. Sorry, sulking and overtaking. Charlie stays behind, saving the battery, and everybody just runs in a kind of marathon style way. Heischler 8/10 behind Pursoon, Pursoon 7/10 behind Igor. A slightly bigger gap between the cars there. That's a mistake there for Pursoon as their car's looking pretty wobbly and they're really at risk. They have lost the DRS now, so they're going to have to try and work together with Heischler all over the road on the exit. The first Lesmo with the rear end just doesn't seem to be playing along with them, unfortunately. Heischler now is going to be a lifeline down into turn 1. That's where they're going to have to try and make their move and slingshot to see if they can get both of these guys back into the group of cars up in front. And I'm sure Heischler knows the task that they have. They move to the left-hand side. They've not got battery too much to use at least. And they're 6/10 back behind the cars in front. Egapro is going to be pushing on the battery. Is there a fair few tenths back here? And there's Heischler in the tracks. And they're going to have to slingshot, and Pursoon's going to have to let that happen. They do turn the battery off. There's Heischler going for it. What can they do? It's also Jericho Willis looking to the outside line. It's Charlie. Oh, Charlie's gone into the back of Jericho Willis. You can see it happen. And the camera cuts away. There's damage on the Williams. And that was really tough to take. Very frustrating for Charlie. Really frustrating. They're still in this race, and it's a straight line speed competition still, so they don't need to give up just yet. But they are going to try and go side by side with Egapro, which is interesting. It's lost them both time now. And all of a sudden DRS has been lost for whatever reason I don't understand, but Charlie's now got damage and no DRS, so that's a frustrating one for Igor. In addition, now Heischler is able to catch up, but the top two will run away for a period here. And that is unfortunately a little bit of a moment there for Tom, who had a yellow flag sector for a second. Charlie goes off track as they're trying to wrestle the car with only half a front wing and a lot of understeer. Egapro trying to line up the move on Charlie, looking for an easier pass with DRS. Charlie now going to the pit lane, so after all of that fighting, they go to the pit lane anyway, which is a bit confusing. And there it is, Jericho Willis looking to go for the move surely on Sulkin. They look to the inside, they back out. Heischler goes for the move on Igor, as these guys have to now try and push to catch up if they can. Sulkin has had a few attacks from Jericho Willis so far already, but nothing quite successful just yet. The pit stops will be kicking in a few laps' time. But for now, 8/10 is too big. Heischler not too far away. That's a 10-second for Pursuit as they speed into the pit lane, unfortunately. Going a little bit too quickly on entry. Easily done. Heischler and Eagle almost within DRS range. Six-tenths away, Sulkin and Jericho Willis maintain their gap ahead of Heischler. Will Jericho Willis try and take a victory here? Or are they going to try and give priority to Heischler? Well, Jericho's ahead in the championship, says that they won't be able to make it to a few races at the same time. Heischler's had 2 non-starting races, has missed out on points 100% in 2 Grand Prix. So would it be even Steven? Would they end up going into a championship fight together? Well, Jericho Willis goes for the move on Sulkin, and now they look at trying to break away. Sulkin's still looking for a move to the inside or to the outside. Luckily the slingshot is going to help, but it's a mistake for Jericho Willis, and it's pressure continuing from Sulkin. And they gain half a second as Heischler on this battle, and they haven't even switched positions yet. Absolutely incredible. Heischler has been given another free ticket to catch up to this battle whilst being on this alternate strategy. We do have to watch out, of course, for Pursuit and Charlie, who are on early pit stop runs now. Pursuit onto a medium tyre, a second medium tyre. They're going for a very different strategy for sure. Is it the right one? I'm not entirely convinced, but considering Charlie pitted so early, then maybe it's not going to be the worst choice of all time. We've now got the top 4 once again in a train, all connected to each other, as Heischler managed to find some great pace right there, and Jericho Willis and his teammate are only going to get quicker at this point in the Grand Prix relative to that medium tyre, as we get another lap on the tyre and we get another overtake for the lead, as Sulkin will challenge into turn 1 and will take the racing line as well. Oh, it's very, very tricky into the first corner though. The 2 teammates getting very close to one another. Heischler trying to gain everything they can, gain as much time as they can, almost gained a bit too much, and would have been in the back of their fellow McLaren driver. Egapro just watching this battle. up in front of them. The DRS is something that keeps you in it, but also just curses you. You can't make progress. You can easily lose focus. And then if you are out of it, it works against you. There's a love-hate relationship with DRS depending on what side of the fence you're on. And now we've got a fair few cars very close together. We've got the two McLarens who are going to want to help each other out. Are we going to get a double overtake from Heischler with a lot of battery? Well, they're using the battery, so they are putting the pressure on. It's Jericho Willis who looks for a move here on Sulkin. The double overtake is definitely possible. Will they switch to the inside line? It's Sulkin who goes defensive, but it's not enough, as Jericho Willis will get there. Heischler brakes as late as they possibly can. Is the switchback not? No, it's not going to be available. I do not believe it. I only saw that going one way, and it's not happened. But they're going to get another run into the chicane. The inside line is theirs. That's what they've chosen. Will Sulkin be able to hold on to it? They're behind into the corner. The switchback is available as Heischler makes a mistake, but they chose the wrong line. They looked to the outside line. They had to back out of it. Oh, and now Igor's on the inside line. Absolutely incredible. Igor is now getting there with the DRS. They make the move, and Sulkin has lost more ground from P1 starting this race. They were in the lead for such a long time. They were fighting. Now they've got to make sure that they work together with Igor to stay with the McLarens, who are only going to get quicker. Igor's got to try and push a little bit harder, or DRS is gone, and we could already see that be the case. We might have to get a pit stop from the medium tyre runners. Igor pushes with everything they can into the final corner. Is it enough? Is that rear wing going to open? Or was it just a little bit too late and is Sulkin going to go for the move? No, they're both into the pit lane. And they both managed to stay within the limits of the pit lane. It's going to be Pursoon that we watch to see where they end up, because of course Charlie had to get a front wing repair. Sure, Pursoon's got a 10-second time penalty, but it won't have affected their current pit stop. So let's see. That undercut is going to be pretty brutal as Charlie gets ahead as well. So it's 4, 5, 6 seconds potentially gained right there. And Pursoon has held their ground ahead of Charlie on that tyre. Of course, it is a different tyre, and Pro Pursoon for the last few laps at least. But it's still pretty good going to see someone who hasn't raced in the game much right in the battle. Now Charlie is very much still in this Grand Prix, considering how much they've undercut. That 5 laps though could hurt them in the final stages. Monza, out of any circuit, is the circuit that you look to try and save tyres at on the front end. On the rear end, however, it's a little bit of a different story. You really want to get that foot down to get the traction and power out of a corner. It also means that you risk everything on the exit of every corner as well. We see no pit stop for the top two. It's Jericho Willis and Heischler staying out on track. Who is going to get the undercut? Who gets to go first? Well, Jericho Willis is leading. Usually the lead car goes into the pit lane first. But that being said, will Jericho allow his teammate to go through? Or is he going to try and take a victory this season? Is this going to be the one that they go for it? And Sulkin getting so close to the back of the Aston Martin, almost a little bit too close, as we've seen a few times so far this Grand Prix. No overtakes will be done. Heischler will sit behind his teammate. And we've got lots of battery working together well, these two, leading the championship in the team's championship. And it's quite comfortable as well. 119 points versus 84 points for Racing Bull. And that looks good for sure. It can all change in just a few races, however, so they can't take anything for granted. DRS though, they can for now because they've got just abundance of it. Jericho Willis turns on his battery to make sure that they lose minimal time, turns it back off once Heischler gets ahead, tucks into the slipstream, and they continue on their way. The Dutchman, from being at P last at the beginning of the Grand Prix, is now into P1 with Pursuit in P3. 3.8 seconds ahead, and it's going to be a big old battle into turn 1. It's Sulkin who sends it to the inside line, and they're going to get there on Charlie. Absolutely incredible. How did they just do that? Egapro goes through, and Charlie's gone from P4 to P6 in a corner that I did not expect them to see switch positions. I don't know how that's just happened. Some pretty good avoidance from Charlie there, to be honest, to stay out of that one. But Egapro really scavenged on that move, realising what Sulkin was just about to do, and then taking from it. That was very, very lucky. Sulkin's got to be counting their lucky stars. Now they're going to try and catch up to Pursuit on that medium tyre that's getting older and older at this stage of the Grand Prix. Pursuit, of course, has to go on to a set of hard tyres at some point in this Grand Prix as well. We'll see how that goes. Jericho Willis goes back into P1 ahead of their teammate. But we're going to go back to this battle. Not this one, but this one, with Sulkin now leading the train. It's a little bit more spread out than I thought it would be. 6/10 isn't exactly easy to catch up. Even at Monza, you'd have to use your entire battery to really catch up properly. Into the braking zone. Eagle will gain some lap time on the traction zone. A little bit more complicated with the RTR in the 25 game. You end up driving yourself outwards and off the circuit if you're not careful, if you don't play it right. And that's now Charlie watching behind. And then Pursuit seeing Sulkin in the mirrors arriving. It's another issue for Tom. Unfortunately, some yellow sectors being displayed after they've just got a time penalty. We've seen 1.4 seconds ahead. So far now, they will have no worries about DRS for the car behind. But Sulkin is just a matter of time away from catching up. From pole position to hunting, the two McLarens stay out. Sulkin does not get challenged by Egapro as the Williams follows on. And they're all waiting to see what happens with the Alpine up in front on the medium tyre. Luckily for them, the straight lines, the massive straight lines, does mean as long as they balance their ERS usage, they don't lose so much time in the straights. In the corners, it will be a massive advantage for Sulkin. Would they even try and get DRS here? No. They'll just have to miss it for now. They do have a lot of battery, and I think it might be game done. Not over, but done for now, as Pursuit will end up losing the DRS. That being said, Sulkin just lost time despite having more battery than the Alpine car. On the exit though into the final corner, that's where it will change, and Sulkin catches up massively with some usage. Jericho Willis and Heischler continue to switch positions as they are working together nicely and losing minimal time with that, but they're not losing or gaining time by doing this. Sulkin is, as they go into P3 and ahead of Pursuit. Egapro is going to probably try and push through as well. They don't. They're a bit too far back in the end, and they just have to let Pursuit stay in between, which isn't ideal because the tyre situation is very different. They're pushing on the battery to try and give it a go, but Pursuit defends on the battery, then runs out, and now Eagle goes to the inside line, but then becomes the outside and the racing line, and it's now Charlie who has to try and get past. the Alpine car through the next few Lesmos. That tyre is pretty dead by now. Of course, Bassoon will have to go on to a different tyre at some point. Will they look for the soft tyre at this stage of the Grand Prix? I'm not entirely sure. But they've given it a good old go. And their pace has been pretty admirable. Charlie catches up to the back of Bassoon, but doesn't go for the move in the end. Battery isn't exactly optimal for Bassoon's situation at the moment. Igor holds on to the back of the DRS. It's Heischler into the pit lane first, and they do go for the undercut onto a second set of hard tyres. Heischler has just had a big problem as they've gone onto a second set of hard tyres. Charlie goes in for their second pit stop. It's Heischler in P5 now on the wrong compound of tyre. They have to pit again as they started on the hards. Jericho Willis now has a clear shot at taking this victory with their teammate effectively nowhere near in sight. It's Sulkin versus Jericho Willis versus Igor, as Bassoon has that time penalty and Charlie's had to make their second pit stop. It's not over until it's over, but it's just changed everything massively. Bassoon 1.9 seconds away now. That gap is not going to be any easier as we continue in this race. Igapro chases down the Ferrari with no DRS for that red car. The green car has a nice chance at holding on to the back of the pole sitter from the beginning of this race. That is a very close track limit though for Igor. They've got to make sure that they stay away from that and don't end up in trouble like it's so easy to do around this circuit. And there it is, Jericho Willis into the pit lane onto a fresh set of medium tyres. They didn't get it wrong this time. It's both Igor and Sulkin ahead. It's Bassoon into the pit lane, retiring from the race. It's Heischler ahead, but on the wrong tyre. You can see the undercut, which was pretty brilliant. 2 seconds. But now that medium tyre is going to be quick. And that medium tyre is going to be what Jericho Willis is hoping to put them in the lead of the Grand Prix. 5 seconds. Heischler all of a sudden has to change things here. They have to try and push. They have to try and catch up to the cars ahead and then maybe help Jericho Willis. Or will they try and hold back their teammate? Will they try and hold back their teammate for the championship? Well, that would be very spicy indeed, wouldn't it? Currently, Heischler is in the least optimal position that they've been since not being able to race completely. And 5.2 seconds, they are nowhere near the cars in front, as Igapro is at the edge of losing DRS from Sulkin. They can go all the way to the first corner and gain some time back, of course, which is going to be very, very useful. That being said, Sulkin's pretty slippery in a straight line, it looks like. I think they might be pushing on the battery themselves right this very moment. It's Heischler who stays ahead of their teammate, and they're not going to switch positions into the first corner. On the exit, though, we might see a different scenario, as Jericho Willis is going to be quick. They still don't go for a move. There's Charlie getting the fastest lap as they now realise that Heischler is going to have to make a pit stop again, so P4 is on the cards. And the longer that Heischler stays out, the more advantage they'll have, and the less time Heischler will be able to regain once more. Realistically, it's in Heischler's best interest to hold their teammate back, just in case. They do have the battery off. Jericho Willis closer than ever, and is probably going to unleash themselves ahead. They've got to get in front, because although they are catching the front two, Jericho is going to be faster on this compound. They're just being held back by dirty air at this stage of the race. There it is though, DRS, ERS is going to be used and the battery's off for Heischler. The move will be made before they hit the brakes once again. Jericho Willis in P3 and now in the hunt for the lead of the Grand Prix. Sulkin, they want their first victory. The champion Eager Pro wants another victory. And Jericho Willis looking for their first in LSI F1. Heischler looking for multiple. Charlie looking for multiple. You never know, Tom could look for multiple as well for their first LSI F1 win as well. Would they be able to get the job done? Well, they're definitely giving it a good go. Big respect. Unfortunately, they did practice for the wrong race, the wrong track on the way to the Italian Grand Prix circuit, a circuit that they do love. Their teammate is in P1, and we've had the Ferrari sandwich continue for a while. Lap 20 out of 27, Eager Pro in P2 with Sulkin leading the way. Jericho Willis continues to catch, bringing Heischler along with them now at a rapid rate. But is that medium tyre going to be quick enough at the end of the Grand Prix? Is it going to be enough to take them to glory by the time we cross that line? Jericho Willis goes fastest, Heischler goes into the pit lane and does end up putting on a medium compound tyre, leaving Jericho Willis alone. And where will Charlie end up relative to Heischler? Looking at the rear wing, you'll see Heischler come out of the pit lane. And there they are in the distance. It's a hefty difference. And 4 laps difference I don't think is going to be that big of a deal. It's not going to be ideal for Charlie, but it's going to be not enough for Heischler to gain 4 seconds, maybe more. Jericho Willis 1.8 seconds, continually gaining. Eager Pro knows what to do when it comes to winning a Grand Prix. Sulkin, stranger in LSI F1 to that, having podiums in recent times, gaining experience slowly but surely. Is today the day they get the job done? They're counting down the laps, they're waiting for the clock to run down. It's just not running down. It's taking too long. The anticipation is getting there. And Jericho Willis is catching to be an extra complication in the mix for the Ferrari. Starting this race on top of the world. Are they going to be able to stand up on their own 2 feet? Eager Pro the first attack. Jericho Willis the surprise waiting behind if anything does go wrong. And that's as of now. This medium tyre is still going to be quick, but they're still yet to catch up to DRS. And by the time they catch up to DRS, is that tyre actually going to be better? Well, the hard tyre will be running really low on grip as well as it gets to the end of its stint. So will that medium tyre. I think it's going to be fairly even. The crossover point will probably match up towards the final couple of laps. And it's just all about who has the composure and the consistency to stay away from making mistakes. Track position for Sulkin, but DRS in striking position for Eager Pro. That being said, not with much battery, although within the DRS, sitting behind with no ERS means that you can't really make a move in the F1 25 game. So they've got to try and manage this race, as Jericho Willis is well in this battle now. We've waited for this moment for the last few laps. It's happening. And as this heats up, we also see Charlie and Heischler get very close to one another. Heischler catching up a massive amount, looking to try and take P4. All of a sudden crucial for Jericho Willis to try and take a victory and get a decent points advantage. They'll be getting a point advantage regardless on Heischler, but just by how much will it be? Will Jericho Willis settle for a P2, or will they go all-out war to try and achieve that golden spot that they've never seen so far? Well, it's the inside line. It's the move on the Aston Martin. One down, one to go for Jericho Willis. Egapro still ready to take anything back. This battle up in front of them is going to be brutal. It's going to slow them down. It's going to allow Igor to relax slightly, potentially, unless they push each other to the limit and gain even more speed. Lap 24, the heart's racing, if it wasn't already before. The feet are shaking, the paranoia kicks in, and you think about, what am I going to do? Which lap is best to do what? Do I have enough battery? Are my tyres going to be good enough? Am I on the right compound? Should I be P1? Should I be P2? Going on to the final lap. Sulkin into the final corner, leads the way. Jericho Willis, the first clear chance of going for P1. Will they stay P2 in the train? That way they can save battery, they can save tyres, and they can look for DRS in the final lap. Or are they going to try and get a clear view of the road ahead? It looks like it's the clear view. The outside line is what they choose. Sulkin's on the inside, Sulkin's there. It's still side by side, and Jericho Willis will get there on the traction, surely, ahead of the Ferrari. We just watch with Egapro as they're continuing to be side by side. The inside line is now available for Sulkin. Back into the toe goes Jericho Willis, back to the inside line, and they're going to be braking as late as possible. It's Sulkin who's going to try and make it side by side. They do make it side by side. There's contact. There's Egapro. There's Egapro to the inside line. It's almost 3 wide into the first Lesmo, but they do eventually sort themselves out, and that was all a little bit too close. For lap 25, we've still got 2.5 remaining. And the inside line is chosen. Jericho Willis looks for the move into the Ascari chicane. He gets the job done. Is that going to be the best place to do it? Are they going to be able to break away? Or is Sulkin going to come back through? Well, maybe it was more of an aggravating move from Jericho Willis. Now they control the pace a little bit. They turn the battery off, and they are allowing Sulkin to get back through. Well, they've got to watch out because they don't want to lose it to Egapro. As long as they can stay P2 and not P3, they will be good. But Sulkin looks to the outside line, and they're going to stay in P2. All of a sudden, to me, this feels like it's the upper hand to Sulkin. Igor sits behind and watches on. Charlie and Heischler have switched positions in the meantime. That 10-second time penalty for Charlie, of course, made that difficult anyway, and it was going to be a P4 for the McLaren driver. Jericho Willis looking for their optimal position as they finish the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix. Interestingly, catching up to Tom. Jericho Willis about to start the final lap of the Grand Prix in P1 with Sulkin directly behind, looking on for the attack. And Igor tries to take away from the spoils if they can. It's Tom retiring at the final, going off at the final corner. Interestingly, we didn't get to see what happened there, but it's DRS for Sulkin. It's the move to the inside, and it's going to be well before the first corner. Jericho Willis can't do anything about it, and is that the killer blow? Sulkin into P1 from pole position. They get there once again, but Jericho Willis will get DRS in the final half a lap and into the run to turn 11, the Parabolica corner. It's going to be theirs, but no, it's once again an overtake attempt on the inside line for Jericho Willis. Surely there's going to be contact. Is there going to be a switchback for the McLaren? No, just once again fighting side by side. Egapro can't catch up. There's no front end grip. Oh, for Jericho Willis, but there's no rear grip for Sulkin. I do not believe it. DRS available into Ascari. ERS being used. Jericho Willis wants to look for the move here. Is it going to be now? It's a perfect defense from Sulkin, and it's all gone wrong for the McLaren. Into the final corner, I think it's been blown. Jericho Willis used the energy a little bit too early on. Turn 11 will be no more. Sulkin looking to win for Ferrari in Italy. Lap 27 is upon them. They've made a mistake. Jericho Willis, the inside line, up to the line. What is it going to be? I just can't tell. Sulkin or Jericho? It's going to be Sulkin. At 0.093, Sulkin is a winner in LSI F1. Congratulations. Absolutely incredible. Egapro in P2, 3, and Heischler, followed by Charlie and Tom. I lost all of my words and got very excited because that was incredible. And I don't know how that just happened, but wow. Sulkin taking victory. Jericho Willis getting ahead of Egapro, just not quite getting there for their first ever victory in LSI F1. It will come. Sulkin in P1 and Jericho Willis in P2. Then we've got Egapro, Heischler for the fastest lap in P4, and then Charlie and Tom in P5 and 6. DNFing earlier on was Pursoon. The session results are on your screen. The race director also. And then we'll be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back to the post-race interviews of the Italian Grand Prix. That was absolutely incredible in the final few laps. We start with Heisler. Heisler, it looked pretty good. Of course, in the start and qualifying it wasn't quite optimal, but you got back to P1, working together well, and the game just did its thing.
Nah, I shouldn't blame the game. It's me making a mistake because the standard strategy is a two-stop here. And I forgot to change from the hard to the mediums in any setting, like even during the race or in the strategy screen. So, yeah, I should have. How do you say it? Yeah, I just should have changed it beforehand. That's what caused me to go hard instead of hard medium. If that didn't happen, looking at how much I already catched up on hards, over 1.5 seconds on my outlap, I just knew me and Jericho, if we worked together on the mediums again, we would have been easily be able to catch up to them, maybe even by lap 20 already. And yeah, the plan was to be 1-2 quite early on in the race, so we can just control the race from there on. But yeah, I made that stupid mistake. It is what it is. Luckily enough, my main championship rivals weren't here today, so I still gained points on the championship lead. I believe Jericho is in the championship lead now, so that's nice. Now we just have to get us both in the championship lead, so 1-2, and then it's pretty much perfect, even though the season has not been going to plan.
Yeah, it has been swinging up and down, hasn't it? Definitely. Thank you very much, Heisler. Really, really tough with that one, but fair enough, well said. And I can't wait for the next race. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we move on to Jericho. Jericho, that was absolutely, I don't know, just my heart was racing. I really feel for you because you go for a race like that, you give everything you can, and it doesn't go your way. But I'm sure in maybe a couple of days' time, you'll get that feeling of enjoyment. It was a hell of a battle. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, no, I mean, I enjoyed that. Of course, everybody wants to win, but that's one of the challenges with this group. You know, everybody wants to win. Everybody has the pace to win if they practice enough, and so you can't be disappointed when you're getting, you know, the results that reflect whatever happened in that race. So try to enjoy what you've done, enjoy the battles, and you know, when the results come, enjoy those as well. But yeah, big thank you to Heish. He helped me a lot in preparing for the race, helped me in qualifying as well, gave me a great slipstream to set a really good benchmark time to really gain confidence. Couldn't quite work out returning the favor, which is very unfortunate, but in the end, I don't think it affected the race much. The two of us working together at a place like Monza, we had the pace to be at the front at the end, I think, just with the strategy and working together. So that was going very well. Unfortunately, Heish made a mistake that we've all made at least once, and got on the wrong tire on the second stint. So that kind of meant that he had to figure out what he would do to try to salvage, which I think he did a pretty good job. P4 is very good for salvaging, and brings them right up within a few points of the number 2 spot, held by Verth now. Yes, held by Verth. So, I mean, it's tight. It's really tight at the top. You know, nobody has to walk away from this feeling like they've, you know, at least nobody in the top 3 for sure, that they're out of this. I mean, it's whoever gets the results going forward is going to be the one that wins. It's not whoever's in the lead or whoever's in second. So, but yeah, the catching up to the guys on the hards, I mean, I kind of knew that would be very doable. It was a little bit more challenging by myself once Heish ducked out, so I had to take a little bit more out of the tires than I would have liked. So I think my advantage was starting to wane by the time I got to Sulkin. I think I still had a good tire advantage when I caught Igor. And so that was, not really a fair fight with him. Just had too big of a tire advantage on him. But good clean racing with him. Appreciate that. And then a good battle with Salkin down to the end. And that was just, ERS. And I just didn't conserve enough ERS in the end, and just didn't have quite enough coming out of that last corner. Almost had the run to the line, about as close of a race as you can get. So I'm sure that was exciting to watch. It was exciting to be in the car, and I think it was easier for me to lose that race in the end than it would have been for Salkin to lose that race. I think that would have hurt him a lot if he lost that race. So for someone coming back like that. So, in the end, it was a good result for all of us, for both of us at least. And I did enjoy it and give you some motivation going forward.
For sure. Well said. Very, very well said. And congratulations, I'll say it, for the first time you lead the LSI F1 World Championship. Thank you very much, Jericho. Really good effort today. Brilliant racing. We'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
And we move on to Salkin. Salkin, congratulations. You have won a race in LSI F1 for the first time. Absolutely amazing. Pole position to win doesn't really give you the same story as what you've just gone through. That was absolutely brutal. Can you take us through it?
Yeah, the qualifying, I was happy to get a good lap in at the end. And after that, I felt like I had a good start. Of course, Heisler and Jericho are McLaren teammates, and as I saw them was choosing hards both, I generally thought that they were going to DRS swap. We've seen that in some races before, and yeah, was good at the first stint. I think I managed to keep on quite well, but my last lap on the stint, I fell down to P4 behind Jericho, Heisler, and was it Igor? I think it was Igor. And after I got on the hard, it felt good, it was refreshing, so got my mentality back up. But when I see the two guys in front, I'm not being able to catch up because I'm behind Igor Pro. He's a fast driver, but we didn't manage to DRS swap like Jericho and Heisler did, so I just needed to get in front, try to lead the way. I think I had more pace in the end. As I saw Heisler putting on the hards, I was really happy because I knew there was quite a chance that I maybe can win this race, since they will not be able to DRS swap and maybe catch up in fewer laps, like lap 20 or 21. So yeah, really happy with that, and yeah, just pushed all I could to the end. And of course Jericho was fast, he had new tires, he had good pace. He managed to overtake Igor Pro, and that scared me quite a bit because Igor Pro was like my Mexican defense So I got quite scared then he got in front by the DRS, and I tried to just save up ERS for the last 2 laps and use all I could on the last end. Luckily I got the win. It was nice, first win. I'm really happy with that result, so yeah.
What happened at the final corner then? Was there a bit of grass on the inside?
Yeah, I think I touched a bit of the grass and just went wide, and yeah, got quite scary. I needed to push the last few yards that I had, so Jericho drove fast and he managed to take, by my mistake, almost every chance that he got, and I think he deserved the P2, and it was nice to get the P1, but I think we both deserved the P1, but as he said, it was nice for me to get the P1, and then it was for him to get the P1, if you understand.
Yeah, he still gets the championship lead, so there's a trade-off.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you very much. Absolutely incredible racing, and that was very enjoyable to watch. You are a race winner, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thanks.
And it was just a couple of races ago when I talked to Salkin and asked him about how his race went. I think it was in maybe Zandvoort, and he didn't seem so happy with the results, but now he's got to the top of the table. Thank you very much everybody for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the LSI F1.5 EU Championship. We'll see you next weekend for the... Oh my days, I've forgotten which track it is. I literally just checked a little bit ago. Spain, the Spanish Grand Prix. It's going to be a good one. Thank you very much once again. Bye bye.